Hey everyone, I'm Carly. I'm a cross stitcher, a knitter, a natural dyer, and this is my floss tube. I'm going to start you off today with a finish, a fully finished object, a fully framed finished object, uh, a faux, if you will. Um, this is Tea of Halloween by Fairy Wool in the Woods. It's stitched on 30 count linen using kind of the called for DMCs, but some just pulled from stash. Oops. Yeah. The glare is just part of life. um, yeah, this was really fun. I wasn't planning to start it. It was a surprise start, which is what I call something that I have no plans to start and then want to work on. I had a lot of BAPs, big S projects going at once, and sometimes when I'm doing that, I like to have kind of like the rush of adrenaline of a finish to kind of spur me on to finish the big one. So I picked this one up, and now I have, as you will see, two very large finishes. So it kind of motivates me to work on the big ones. Something I'm realizing is I don't really understand how to look at a pattern and then picture it on a certain size or count of fabric. I often will look at the pattern and then like picture the finished object being the same size as the pattern. And this pattern is like maybe about that big, the copy I have. So I was like, oh, it's gonna be a little itty bitty tea party. But I've never stitched on 30 count. And that's also, not my strong point, guessing those kinds of things. So it's in an 8x8 frame. Yeah, so that was a good learning opportunity. I'm not sold on it being in this frame. I didn't pin it or anything. I just stuck it in. But I wanted a fully finished object, and I don't know. I would be happy giving this to someone else. So I'll keep an eye out for a prospective home. But as I said, that little guy inspired me to work on some other things. So I have a very exciting finish. Dun, dun, dun. Woo! Yay! This is Welsh Dresser by Galiana. And the floss is AmaranthineStitches. Both of them are on Etsy. I'll just give you a little. Boop. So yeah, I don't know what to say about this. I'm in love. I love it. I love it. I adore it. I'm counting on my mom crying when she sees it because I'm making this for her birthday. Made it for her birthday. It's done. I've got my initials and the year in it and everything. Yeah, very tiny down here. Boop, sneaky, sneaky. Yeah, so this was stitched using, I think the bluey tealy stuff it was called Mystical Teal. And she only had one like release of that. I've seen it posted since. It looked a little different. The color did. And then the grays are part of a multi-pack with grays and like some other like kind of browns. So they're all different. There's 3 different shades of gray in here, which you might be able to tell. Perhaps not, but like this teapot here has a lot more blue in it than like this one, for example. It'll go up on my Instagram eventually. I'm like very slowly adding things there. I like to try and post things when they're fully finished to encourage me to finish things. And also just so I have like a space where I can see all my finishes, I guess. I'm not as concerned about like looking at my progress on Instagram because I've got these. But what I'm saying is it will be easier to view on Instagram whenever it ends up there. But I love this. Her designs are wonderful. I have another one of hers, House of Christmas, that I was like, well, maybe I won't start it this year, but now I'm kind of like, when can I start? Yeah, this is super fun. It's stitched on 18 count Ada. I forget the color. It's like antique white maybe, from Zweigart. And I love this Ada so much. It is so soft. It is so easy to do the sewing method with. Oh, and it's 2/2. Sorry, 2/1. Yeah, so that's done. If you care, this is 2/2 on 30 count. Okay, so now I just have to decide when to give this to my mama, because I am moving before her birthday and won't be traveling back to see her for that day. So I might just wait till whatever holiday in the fall/winter I end up seeing her at and gifting it to her then, because I would like to see it in person. And yeah, I think she'd like to hug me after. Cool. Okay. So that is my biggest finish. I'm so excited to be done. I'm a little sad. I didn't think that would happen. Like I've heard people say like, oh, I'm done with this pattern and it's, satisfying, but I miss working on it. And I didn't understand that, but now I do. Yeah. Okay, cool. She's done. What's next? Talavera. Oh, no, wait, I have another finish. I don't have it with me because my friend is fully finishing it. So my friend Anya has 2 little sisters. I have knit things for them in the past. It's her youngest sister's birthday this week, and for what I knit for her sister in December, she drew a picture of a hat with colors that she liked, and I knit the hat, and that was super fun. So for her birthday, Anya wanted me to make a pillow. And I was like, I can cross stitch. Cannot make it into a pillow, but you can make it into a pillow because she's good at that kind of thing. And I think she wanted to do that kind of collaboratively too, so that's fine. So she and her sister talked about what she likes and what she would want on a little pillow. I actually don't know if she knows it's going to be a pillow. I don't know how much of a surprise this is. All I have is this drawing from the little sister of things that she loves, Kiki's delivery service and my neighbor Totoro. So I went on Etsy, I got 2 patterns and made some tweaks to make them stylistically similar, arranged them, and then added text that I generated using, I think it was Stitch Fiddle. They've got like 6 different fonts you can choose and write your own text. I've used it for many years. I love it a lot. I should know the name of it. I always just Google cross-stitch text generator and like whatever is the link that I've clearly already clicked is the one I click. Anyway, so yeah, I made that and it's on 18 count Aida using DMC, and I can't wait to see the finished product. Hopefully when this goes up, I'll have footage of it. I'm seeing them tomorrow, so perhaps the pillow will be done then, but we shall see. All right. Now on to my whips. Linen and Threads Mystery Sampler Sal? I forget. I just call this my Talavera Sampler Sal. Yee! This is it. This column was just hanging out for a really long time, and I finally finished it. July was a very light month. It was just these bands of color underneath the tiles. So I did those, and then I was like, I need to do more. It's a lot of fun, I think, to get to decide what the colors are going to be and how I'm going to arrange them. So, like, they're all different, and that's really fun. So, yeah, I'm caught up. Oh, I did make a change. I talked about this last time. On this tile, let me show it to you while I'm talking about it. Come on now. On this tile, I was a little disappointed. These were all one color the way that I had stitched it, and my eye kept being drawn to this block because all the other ones were super colorful, and this one was just like so blocky with color. So I saw somebody had swapped out the little nubbin colors on the top of this motif, whatever it's called. And I liked that. So I did that too. And I love the results. It just seems much more cohesive now as a design because there's not that one kind of like, not boring block, but one that like the color choice just didn't match the rest kind of thing. But yeah, this is stitched on 36 count platinum from Picture This Plus. Yes, really pleased with this one. Really, 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 really pleased. So fun. I love geometric stitching, just when you can repeat over and over and over. My jam. All right. Have I got anything else? Yes, I do. I have my Mira. So this is Mirabilia, Winter in My Garden. And I'm gonna link a video below from Emma Rose Makes. Em's video talks about Mirabilia because Em does a lot of Mira stitching, but Mirabilia's skin tone selections are not, I was gonna say not very inclusive. They're not inclusive at all. From what I understand, they're just all white ladies. And I think as a designer, if you are releasing patterns where they're all people, the least you could do is provide some options. Yeah, like, anyway. Em's video talks about it, and I think Em does a really good job of breaking it down and kind of sharing you know, thoughts on being a Mira stitcher and like making those kinds of changes as a stitcher yourself. So I'll link that below. Where did I put it? Oh my god. She ran away. Here she is. So this piece has been in timeout for a little bit because I made a boo-boo. Pretty big boo-boo. Not sure if you know this, but sometimes when designers have a lot of colors in their patterns, they use the same symbol and they just flip it. Totally fine. That's a great way to have more symbols. The problem is when someone like me tries to read a pattern and gets confused without realizing it. And y'all, I triple checked and still messed it up. But here, I'll show you what I got. Maybe at first glance, you can't tell. Because in my brain, I was like, oh, it's an orange coat. And I love how this is turning out, even though everything white on this side is one stitch off. But whatever, that's fine. I don't care about that. What I do care about is I am really impressed by the use of color in the Mirabilia designs to portray like shadows and playing with light. And this is the only Mira I ever plan on stitching. It's not a like design aesthetic that I'm particularly drawn to. I just knew I wanted to stitch like one. So I kind of wanted like do it right. I'm not necessarily one to follow the pattern to a T, but with this kind of situation where it is like shadows and things like that, it might get a little funky. So all of the orange on my piece is actually supposed to be brown because it's a shadow, and that symbol was really similar. I didn't look at the picture before I started stitching it because in my brain I was like, oh, I know, it's orange. So I don't know. What I'm going to do is wait till I finish stitching the whole thing and then decide if it's really that bad. I mean, I don't think it looks bad. I think it looks fine, but it also is not done yet. So I think when it's finished, I'll have a better idea of like, do I want to fix it? So that the shadow effect is there, or do I just want her to have a funky coat? Will that work? I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, this is, I don't usually mind frogging in knitting. I think it's fun because you can like feel it coming out, and I don't know, that's just kind of cool. Frogging with cross stitch is a little more annoying just because it's a bit more labor intensive, but I don't mind it. I understand that that's part of the process. With this though, this fabric is a 32 count Witchell raw linen. It is thick. It is so thick compared to what I'm used to, and stiff. So it is like physical labor stitching on this. that's hyperbole, but I get tired stitching on it because of the effort. It hurts my hands sometimes. That's because I don't take breaks. And I noticed that a lot more with this piece, so maybe that's a good thing. But yeah, I gotta make some choices about her coat. I've made other choices about skin tone and things like that. Actually, I haven't made any choices. I know I'm doing a skin tone conversion. I just have to decide if I want to use up some floss in my stash or if I want to spring for Yamir's collection that she released, her skin tone collection, which is very, very beautiful and cool, and I want all of them. But yeah, it's Winter in My Garden by Mirabilia. And I think those are all my finishes and my whips. Something I did want to say, kind of back to Mirabilia. What was it? Michelle Bendy Stitchy mentioned in her video, one of her videos recently, I can't remember who she was talking about. I think it was an under 100 subs club person, 1,000, whatever. This person likes stitching, where is it? Black Swan designs. And Michelle was making the point, like, that's a good alternative to Mirabilia, because the designer, actually don't know the designer's pronouns, but the designer uses different skin tones or includes like options. I haven't looked into the designer or seen the patterns, but yeah, if you're interested in doing something similar to Amira but want to support a designer who is inclusive in their skin tone choices, Black Swan Designs. I keep wanting to say Black Rose. That's because I'm looking at Emma Rose Makes is the video that I'm going to share. Editing Carly popping in on this very flattering freeze frame. While I was filming this, actually, Emma responded to a comment I left on Em's video about Black Swan and recommending that as a mirror alternative. Em took the step I should have taken, looked into it, and saw that Black Swan is actually out of print, which I did not realize. Em also said it seems like it's pretty difficult to get Black Swan outside of the US, so my bad. If you know of any other alternatives, let me know. I'd love to share them. I did take a look on eBay and saw a ton of Black Swan charts, and especially compared to out-of-print Miras, the prices seem pretty reasonable. I saw a ton for less than $10. I'm assuming that's just for shipping within the United States, so I don't know how that translates outside, but that might be a possibility for some. So anyway, all right, pillows. So yeah, there was a pillow earlier from a fully finished object. And this is the first thing I ever sewed. And it's a little pillow with a little needle in it because it's a pin cushion. I made this when I was 6 or 7. It's fraying. I made it in Colonial Williamsburg. I think my grandparents took me, and there was like a little class, and the woman that was teaching it, she scared me a lot, but I made my pillow. She was very nice. She was a very confident person, and confidence intimidated me as an unconfident child. So yeah, it's like very not, professionally done, but I love how like wonky it is. And I love that I have this from being so young, and I was stitching even back then. I wish I liked sewing more. I think because I don't feel I can be precise, it intimidates me or it frustrates me. Like there's a skill you have to build up in order to be good at it, or in order for me to be good at it. And I'm impatient, I think, so that's why like knitting and cross stitch I love, because there's like some guidelines, like you put it in these like holes to make the cross, or like you you know, follow the pattern and you're doing it on the like same size needles. I don't know. It just feels like there's a little more control. Someone analyze that and tell me what's wrong with me. Just kidding, I already know, but I won't talk about it here. That was so dumb. Okay, here's another pillow. My aunt made this for me in 1994, and yeah, if you couldn't tell, this is from the 90s by the Precious Moments motif and the incredible amount of backstitching, shall we say. My aunt is a super crafty person, so I don't know if this was a kit, but I would not be surprised if she like chose these pieces and like made this pillow herself from her own design. This was in my room a lot, or for many years growing up, and I forgot all about it and then found it in my family's garage recently and got super excited because I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. It was like one of those things that was like kind of in the background, so I didn't really understand it or think about it. But when I saw it as an adult, I was like, oh my god, what way do her stitches go? And then I took it off the pillow and was like, ooh, let me look at her messy back. It's like my messy backs. So that was really fun. It is very, very precise. Backstitching is another thing that's super difficult for me at this time in my life, and as a stitcher. So I'm always really impressed with it. Yeah, this looks like it was probably really fun. Anyway, sorry, you can't even see it. I'm just admiring her handiwork. It's got my little name on it. Boop. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about today is, and let me make sure I get this right. Common threaded stitcher. Okay, so that's a hashtag and I guess an account, it looks like, on Instagram, and it's something for the month of August where people are posting, they're responding to prompts, where it's a way for stitchers to get to know each other and like see what they have in common. I haven't been participating. I didn't really pay attention to know that it was happening. And I also like, I don't know. I'm not sure kind of where I stand on wanting to put like personal information about myself on my public facing Instagram. It's a whole thing. It's not. So what I wanted to do is just share like a common thread that I experienced IRL. And let me make sure I've got my prop nearby for the big reveal. You'll see. So Nithya, my heart and soul, Daybreak Stitchery. She's so cool and so kind, and she and I stitch a lot of the same projects, or some of the same projects, and I love seeing like the crossovers and different things we decide. I love her videos so much. I always learn something when I watch them because she's such like a curious person, and I think she works in education. She mentions like going back to school and things like that. I don't quite know the extent, but I can just, if she's a teacher, like it makes so much sense, because yeah, she just gets me really pumped to learn new things that she's interested in. One of the things she mentioned in her recent video was a book called All That She Carried, and I definitely recommend watching Nithya's video to learn more about that book. I'll link it below, but it basically has to do with stitching, basically like textiles being passed through the family, and coupled with the United States history of enslaving people. And that is all I will say. I think there's certainly a lot more to it, but that's kind of the premise of the book, or how it starts. And then I think it goes more into like the history of both of those things together. So I'm really looking forward to reading this book. I think especially like as a crafter who's also American, and a white American, I did not learn a lot in school. That was true. Slash, I didn't learn enough in school, and I don't ever want my education to stop at like, oh, I graduated, I guess that's everything I need to know. That was a whole tangent. I wasn't planning to talk about that for that long. The point was, Nithya shared this book, and I was like, that's really cool, because I just went to this exhibit at the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts called The Dirty South, and it's multimedia. There's like sculptures and photographs and videos and textiles, and it's all artists, Black artists from the Southern United States are featured. Hey, editing Carly, just jumping in to correct myself. The artists in this exhibit are not all from the Southern United States. They are from all over. But it's more so that their work and the themes in their work related to kind of the overall theme of the exhibit. So from the VMFA's website, it says that the Dirty South investigates the aesthetic impulses of early 20th century Black culture that have proved ubiquitous to the southern region of the United States. So there's a lot more on the website, which I'll definitely link below, so you can take a look if you're interested. And there were lots of quilts, and it was very cool and just interesting. Again, learning more about the history and the symbols within the quilts. One of the reasons I wanted to go was because I saw someone on Instagram, and I can't find who it was. It must have been in their stories, because I looked through the folks I know who live in Virginia, and I didn't see it posted on their like grid. But there's a whole room there that's like hand stitched out of vinyl. Amazing. So anyway, I was like, oh, cool. Like this thing my mom asked me to go to, I already saw on an Instagram from a cross stitcher. Cool. Common thread. And then, I was just blown away by all these beautiful quilts. There was one, particular, artist who, had a piece where it's a quilt, but it's also a portrait. So it's a portrait made out of fabric, and it was awesome. Butler is the name of the artist. So I was like, oh, that's cool. I want to learn more about that. And so Nithya posts this video about like quilting and history, especially like for Black Americans. And I was like, wow, all of these things are coming together. I'm learning from multiple angles. This is awesome. And then I went on Instagram again, and I saw that Nithya had gone to an art museum in Chicago, and she posted some pictures from her trip, including, oh God, guys, I messed up the reveal. This is taking too long. Ah, this one. Hooray. Because Nithya also went to see Butler at a different museum across the freaking country. And I had picked up a book about Butler and didn't tell anybody. And then I saw the stuff from this book on Nithya's Instagram. Isn't that cool? Is it? I think it is. I've started reading this. Look at that. That's fabric. I mean, that's a picture of it. This isn't fabric, but just incredible. Yeah, so I've started reading it, and it talks mostly about, at least the parts I've read, about quilting and how it's changed in like the art world in terms of its perception. Like originally, the first time quilts were exhibited in an art museum from, I think if I read this correctly, is like the 70s, early 70s. And it was quilts that were, the images and designs reminded the curator of kind of the sort of abstract art movements that were going around at the time, like in paintings and things like that. So they kind of not intentionally mimicked like the like white male artists that were creating at that time, but they had sort of similar themes, and so the curator was like, cool, yeah, I'll put these in my show because they look like these things that we're already doing. And they weren't necessarily seen as art, it was seen as like a craft. And so the like effort and legacy associated with quilts just was not acknowledged or appreciated. So yeah, I think that's just learning more about that in its own, that little chunk of time about how we thought about quilts as a culture or like in the art world. Very, very interesting. And it's changed. But it wasn't that long ago. I could talk about this for a really long time, and I have, and now I will stop, because my throat's getting a little hoarse. Anyway, yeah, I just thought that was cool. All of it was cool. I also wanted to just say, like, thank you to Nithya in general. So I'll try to keep this part short. Nithya basically connected me to a lot of queer cross-stitchers that I didn't know existed. There was one video I put up, I guess in June, where at the very, very end, I was like, if there's any queer cross-stitchers out there, let me know. Thinking like, I guess I'm the only one, which I knew wasn't true. I've seen like a handful of people at that point, and I was like, there's gotta be more, I just don't know where they are. And then Nithya was like, hey, here's a frickin' list. Of course she didn't say it like that, but there is a list that DeeZz20Stitches has curated, and it's a list of designers and material makers like floss and fabric stitchers. So I'm on the list now. But yeah, so through that I was able to find Emma from Emma Rose Makes, and I was able to find DeeZz20Stitches, and Dee put up their first FlossTube recently, and oh my god, I wanted to make a whole video about how happy I was watching that video. I was just like, I need to talk to someone about this. I am so pumped. Like, I was texting one of my little like queer group chats, and I was like, you guys, guess what? There's this FlossTuber, and I feel very seen. This is the last time I'm interrupting myself in this video, I swear. But I just want to make it clear, none of my friends cross-stitch. But my sweet little group chat knows all about FlossTube because I talk about it all the time. So this is big news for everyone. Because yeah, like we say, representation matters in cross-stitch, and it does. And I think that looks a lot of different ways, whether it's from your skin tone choices to changes you make to motifs, to people who are actually stitching. And yeah, I am just, now my feed is full of queer cross-stitchers on YouTube and Instagram, and it's been awesome. During COVID, I had to move away from where I was living, where my entire queer community was, for the most part. So yeah, being able to not only see other queer people during a time when I don't right now, having that in my life has been amazing, even if they're people I don't like interact with regularly. I see them, and it's just, it feels really good. So yeah, that's my that's my love letter to Nithya. But if you haven't watched her videos yet, definitely check her out. Like I said, I guarantee you will learn something new about something you've maybe never heard of, or like only know a little bit about. She just knows so much like random stuff, but like in depth. And again, I think she's an educator because the way she talks to you, it feels very conversational, but it also like makes it stick, the way that she shares things. I also really appreciate that if she's like has a pattern, whether it's like knitting or crochet or cross stitch that's related to like a human rights cause or situation, or like a particular culture or tradition, she will tell you about it, and she'll explain like, here's why I made these changes to this pattern. Here is, like an organization you can donate to that I have researched. Here is a list of articles and videos and books that will teach you more about this situation that maybe you don't know a ton about. / here's an artist who does the same craft that you do from that country. This example is from her video about Palestine, or where she talked about Palestine. And yeah, like, it already takes a lot to make a floss tube, a lot of effort in setting aside that time, and to not only like do that, but to spend the time and labor telling people about things that others might shy away from talking about. That takes time and effort, and she also tailors it to her audience of crafters. So there's just all these layers of just like, anyway. Yeah, go watch Nithya. She's great. I need to end this. I'm getting very hyper. So have a great day, week, month, life. I'll see y'all next time.